What's up, everybody? So we're continuing to go over the original newspaper articles that were being printed at the time of Steven Avery's and Brendan Dassey's arrest for the murder of Teresa Halbach. We are going over everything that was being printed in the press at the time everything was going on, sort of like a live timeline of events, but a live timeline of events of something that happened 18 years ago. And up until this video, we had not gotten into anything that involved Brendan Dassey. But unfortunately, this is going to be the first video where Brendan Dassey is brought into the case. This first article is from February 7th, 2006, and it is from the Madison, Wisconsin State Journal. It states that Steven Avery's trial is set for September 2006, of course. The trial for a murder suspect who spent nearly 2 decades in prison for a crime he didn't commit has been set to start in September and lasts more than a month. According to a court document released on Monday, Steven Avery pleaded not guilty last month to killing and burning the body of 25-year-old photographer Teresa Halbach. Calumet County District Attorney Ken Kratz is prosecuting the murder case against Steven Avery because of Avery's civil lawsuit against Manitowoc County seeking damages for the wrongful conviction that sent him to prison. Back in 1985, Ken Kratz wrote a letter dated February 1st to the judge in the case, Manitowoc County Circuit Court Judge Patrick Willis. The court has scheduled the trial to start September 5th, according to the letter. Closing arguments in the case were predicted to occur on October 5th, followed by jury deliberations. Steven Avery's public defenders filed a motion last month reserving their right to seek a change of venue. Willis has asked attorneys to file all pretrial motions by March 17th. A status conference was scheduled for March 24th. In this letter, Ken Kratz wrote that no matter where the jury is selected from, he would prefer the trial to take place at the Calumet County Courthouse. He said security would be better and cheaper because Steven Avery already is being held there and wouldn't have to be moved. Messages for Teresa Halbach's family spokesman, Mike Halbach, and lead attorney were not immediately returned. This next article is from February 15th, 2006, from the Madison, Wisconsin State Journal. It's about Steven Avery settling his lawsuit for $400,000. Now, this was originally the $36 million lawsuit that Steven Avery filed, but he was forced to settle so that he could hire attorneys. Steven Avery settles lawsuit for $400,000. A man accused of killing a woman and burning her body has settled his federal lawsuit against authorities who put him in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Steven Avery has agreed to dismiss his wrongful conviction lawsuit against Manitowoc County and the sheriff and district attorney who put him away for crime that he didn't commit for $400,000, a fraction of the $36 million he was seeking. Steven Avery's attorneys, Stephen Glenn and Walt Kelly, didn't immediately return messages from the Associated Press Tuesday evening, but Glenn told the Milwaukee Journal Avery needs bail money in the homicide case and wants to hire private attorneys. He's currently represented by 2 assistant public defenders. The article talks about how county officials acknowledge no wrongdoing in the deal. Absolutely insane. He was falsely imprisoned for 18 years. Had to settle from $36 million down to $400,000, and the people that put him in prison wrongfully have no wrongdoing in the deal. Just absolutely bonkers. This next article is from February 17th, 2006, and it is from the Madison, Wisconsin State Journal. Family of murder victim sues Steven Avery. Steven Avery, 43, was charged in November with first-degree intentional homicide and mutilating a corpse in the death of Teresa Halbach. The family of a photographer allegedly murdered by a man who served 18 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit filed a wrongful death lawsuit against him on Wednesday. The suit was filed in Calumet County Circuit Court a day after Steven Avery settled his lawsuit against Manitowoc County authorities who wrongfully convicted him in 1985. Tim Halbach, an attorney and older brother of Teresa Halbach, filed the wrongful death suit, which did not specify a dollar amount in it. He said the suit is our remedy. Steven Avery's assistant public defender, Eric Loy, said Wednesday he wouldn't comment on the wrongful death suit filed by the Halbach family. He said Avery would likely not qualify for a public defender. After settling his earlier lawsuit. He said the judge would likely have to decide on how Steven Avery would be represented. This next article is from February 26, 2006, and it is from the Madison, Wisconsin State Journal. Change of lawyers okayed in Steven Avery case. A judge approved a change of lawyers for a murder suspect who spent nearly 2 decades in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Steven Avery, 43, will be represented by Dean Strang of Madison. He had been represented by public defenders since he was accused of killing photographer Teresa Halbach. Steven Avery became ineligible for public defenders after he signed a $400,000 settlement with Manitowoc County over his wrongful conviction in the wrongful conviction case. Manitowoc County Circuit Judge Patrick Willis signed an order making Strang's Avery's attorney on Friday. Steven Avery will receive about $240,000 of the settlement. The rest was ordered withheld for legal fees. Now, this next article is, when this popped up, that I was going to be going over this one today. I knew it was coming up. I didn't know exactly when it was going to be originally printed in the paper, but I saw this and, man, it just took the wind out of me. I can't believe that Brendan Dassey is still sitting in prison from this day. This is March 2nd, 2006, from the Madison Capital Times. This is the first story that I found of Brendan Dassey getting involved in the case, and it is talking about when he is also charged with the murder of Teresa Halbach. Steven Avery relative, 16, charged in murder. A 16-year-old relative of Steven Avery will be charged along with Steven Avery in the murder of photographer Teresa Halbach, authorities said Wednesday. The boy was arrested Wednesday based on his own statements admitting his involvement. Man, it is so hard to read because it's absolute crap. Jerry Pagel said investigators have always considered the possibility that there were others involved in Halbach's killing. They say that, yet in Ken Kratz's closing argument or opening argument, even after Brendan Dassey was arrested, Ken Kratz states that there was one man and one man only that committed the murder of Teresa Halbach. He's talking about Steven Avery. And yet this guy, Jerry Pagel, is talking about how they always considered the possibility that there was others involved. Absolute crap. 16-year-old juvenile admitted his involvement in the death of Teresa Halbach as well as Steven Avery's involvement in this matter. They couldn't convict. They had no case against Steven Avery. So they had to go after somebody else. They went after the person that they could convince to falsely confess to the murder of Teresa Halbach, to just repeat everything that was fed to him in those interviews. It's absolutely disgusting. Calumet County District Attorney Ken Kratz said Wednesday night that more information would be released when the teen was charged in adult court today as a party to first-degree intentional homicide. His initial court appearance is scheduled Friday. It's so frustrating. They were convicted of this murder 2 completely different ways. How does that happen? It's disgusting, man. It's so infuriating reading this now, knowing the truth of what actually went on. Of course, at this point in time, those interrogation videos were not released, so nobody knew. But we do know now what happened, and it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. The boy's name was not released. Authorities wouldn't say how he is related to Steven Avery. Pagel said that the boy was interviewed Monday and investigators decided to re-interview him Wednesday because of discrepancies in his statements. They probably just didn't get him to say everything that they needed him to say, so they went back, fed him more information, and then they were able to do what they did. That's where I'm going to leave today's video. I absolutely hate having to read that last part. I hate that Brendan Dassey is still in prison to this day. I hate that the people that did this to him are still out there living their life free, probably proud of what they did. It's absolutely gross. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the case up until this point. Let me know what you think of the articles we went over today. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you again soon.